who received the non-alcoholic beer during recovery and everything after sporting events demonstrated that the non-alcoholic beer acted like a anti-inflammatory, so the muscles recovered much better. The pain went away faster, and so after that they started giving non-alcoholic beer to athletes as rehydration beverage and recovery beverage.
Hello and welcome to the Gourmet Brewing Podcast. This season we're learning from leading brewers about their delicious beverages, but more importantly, how they created them. I'm your host, Doug Piper, Cicerone and International Food and Beverage Judge. Today's featured guest is Keith Villa. Keith is the master brewer and founder of Blue Moon. Also, Ceria Brewing, which focuses on CBD or cannabis and also zero alcohol beers. Keith has been a hugely successful brewer, having created and sold Blue Moon. And now he's created a new brewery called Ceria. Ceria specializes in zero alcohol beers as well as CBD-infused beer. Now, we ran into each other at the beautiful Daniel H. Lawrence Convention Center in Pittsburgh during HomebrewCon. During our 17 minutes, we discussed why NA and zero alcohol beers are growing, the CBD trend, and beer's health benefits. So let's join our discussion as Keith shares his thoughts on current industry trends. I'm at HomebrewCon 2022, and I have the privilege of talking to one of the keynote speakers that's spoken not once but twice, right?
Yes.
And so Keith Villa is just a fantastic speaker, but amazing background. We've had such a good time talking. I wanted to share it with you because he's got a great story to tell. So Keith, first of all, I want to know kind of what surprises in the industry that you have seen maybe in the past year. You're into some fascinating areas as you transition from Blue Moon.
Yeah, right. So first of all, thank you, Doug, for having me on your show. It's a lot of fun. My pleasure to really help expand the word about brewing through you. So the last year has really been phenomenal because a lot of brewers have really jumped on the bandwagon of non-alcoholic beer. And even some have done cannabis because those are the two areas that are really showing a lot of growth right now. Obviously, a lot of us know that the hard seltzer market has slowed down seriously within the last 6 months to the point where even Boston Beer has had to write off a lot of truly hard seltzer and their stock price suffered. So small brewers are constantly looking at opportunities to make more profit, and they've seen non-alcoholic beers that primary space, and so a lot of them are producing NA beers. So that's really one of the cutting-edge things that brewers are doing. And then, of course, cannabis. That's one of the things that we're seeing displace alcohol to the fortune or misfortune of brewers everywhere, because young people are drinking less alcohol. They view it as unhealthy. Personally, I believe in moderation it's healthy. Obviously, a lot of us know that in excess it is unhealthy.
Sure.
And but younger people are starting to have a point of view that in any amount alcohol is unhealthy. So they're either starting to take up a trend called sober curious, where they spend weekends without alcohol just to see what it's like.
Really?
And then the other
I'm not sure I'd make one of those.
And then the other trend they're following is called California Sober, or Cali Sober. And what this is they give up alcohol and replace it with cannabis. So again, Cali Sober is a trend that's really taking hold.
Where's the word Kelly? What is that?
California. So many trends come from California.
Okay, yes, they do.
And so, yeah, it's just really putting pressure on the alcohol industry to come up with innovative new ways to attract customers. So those are the big things happening.
Why do you think cannabis is considered more healthy than alcohol?
It's obviously, it depends on which form, because there's been a lot of studies on alcohol because it's federally legal. And so a lot of research universities and institutions have done extensive research on alcohol. And alcohol it also is a process that's very natural. You put yeast in and it converts sugars into alcohol.
It's an orange juice, right?
There's alcohol in orange juice, vanilla extract, a ripe banana. There's alcohol almost everywhere. It's a naturally produced product. And that's why I believe that it is healthy in moderation.
Right.
With cannabis, a lot of us look at cannabis, and the typical way people use it is they dry it and smoke it. And of course, in this day and age, smoking of any kind is number one, antisocial.
Yeah, very much.
And number two, people are very much aware of their lungs and their health, and they say, well, if I'm putting all that smoke in my lungs, it's probably not healthy. And you throw the pandemic on top of that with COVID, and the way COVID really caused inflammation and infection of the lung material, you've got just this double whammy on your health. And so I think young people really look at that and say, or not young people, I think alcoholic people look and they say, okay, smoking is really not healthy. We should be drinking. Young people, though, have taken it a step further and they say, okay, well, if you don't smoke it, there is the plant, and if you convert all those cannabinoids, THC, CBD, CBG, etc., into their active form without smoking, and then put it into edibles or chocolate or brownies, you name it. These younger people think that's a lot healthier and doesn't hurt your liver. So it's interesting to talk to young people, because I don't know where they get their information. Probably the internet, which is the ultimate,
who'd have thought?
ultimate source of all truth.
Yeah.
But yes, because sometimes there is some faulty logic in all of that. But it's interesting because a lot of them are taking it up, and it's affecting the industry.
Well, I like that on the nutrition. We've had several people in previous events that have talked about the nutrition of beer. It's liquid bread.
Oh, yes.
So if we're taking liquid bread and then you're getting the alcohol out, how nutritious is a NA beer? Oh, excuse me, you corrected me earlier. By the way, there is a big difference, and I'll let Keith explain it. I was saying NA and zero beer interchangeably, but it's quite different, right?
That's right. The federal government, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and TTB, the Tax and Trade Bureau, Alcohol, Tobacco, Tax and Trade Bureau, which is the successor to the former ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They're the ones who regulate everything that has to do with alcohol here in the United States. And they have a clear classification system for beers based on alcohol content. So everything above 0.5% ABV has to legally be called beer. So it's beer. And there are some other stipulations too. One thing is a beer also has to contain at minimum 7.5 pounds of hops per 100 barrels of finished beer. So things like that. But the big thing is the alcohol. Above 0.5% is a beer. Between 0.5 and 2.5, the government allows you to call it low alcohol, or LA beer. Below 0.5%, the government says you must call it non-alcoholic malt beverage. You can't call it beer because you can't say, oh, it's a non-alcoholic beer.
So NA beer is completely wrong.
Legally, yes.
Legally, yeah. Okay.
But colloquially, all of us say, "Oh, NA beer."
Okay.
So people just use that terminology, but officially it should be called non-alcoholic malt beverage, because since it doesn't have alcohol, it can't legally be called beer. So that's below 0.5% ABV. Now, in the special case that you can get it down to 0.00 and not have any measurable alcohol in the beer, the TTB allows you to call it AF. Alcohol-free beer. So,
well, I was going to corner. Julia's walking over there. Julia is in charge of our AHA. She's the executive director. And you two have really spoken a lot. So on that vein, NA beer or NA malt beverage, do you say 0.0 beer, or is that 0.0 malt beverage?
0.00 malt beverage is officially what it's called, but all of us refer to it as just beer.
All right, so here's the hard question. 0.0 or NA, or maybe even the low alcohol beer. There's a lot of nutrition just in the ingredients that go into beer anyway. So is it theoretically, at least, or maybe actually, more healthy to have a NA or 0.0? I mean, could that almost be couched as a health beverage?
In fact, yes, that's absolutely the case. In fact, the Germans have published numerous articles, scientific articles, showing the value, the nutritional value of non-alcoholic beer. And they were the first, if I remember correctly, to actually test it out with athletes, in particular, members of the German Olympic team. And they gave them non-alcoholic beer, and I believe the control was water for rehydration and such. And they found that those who received the non-alcoholic beer during recovery and everything after sporting events demonstrated that the non-alcoholic beer acted like a anti-inflammatory, so the muscles recovered much better. The pain went away faster, and so after that they started giving non-alcoholic beer to athletes as rehydration beverage and recovery beverage. So it is over there. It's really taken seriously that non-alcoholic beer is healthy for you, and so we say the same thing at Ceria Brewing. Is that okay? This is a beverage that's a health beverage. Really, in essence, no different than the shelves. When you go to the grocery store, you see the shelves of these healthy beverages, these isotonic beverages, all these different things. Beer, non-alcoholic beer should be placed there.
Especially,
instead of in the beer category, because really when people go shopping for beer, 99% of them are looking for alcoholic beer. And when you put NA beer in that category, it really is a disservice, because NA beer is a health beverage.
So it's really true. A friend of mine was talking about beer, and he said, well, you know what it stands for. I'm sure you've heard this one. Best ever electrolyte replacement.
And that's what it is. It really is a health beverage.
Yeah, he was a jogger and a cyclist and all that. So the Germans have papers, I would say proof, but they've documented. Maybe that's why you said the NA beer category is so strong in Germany. Maybe the strongest in the world.
One of the strongest, yes. Okay. I believe the beer market is such that around 8 or 9% of the beer market is consisting of sales of non-alcoholic beers. And people over there, and they do it for different reasons. The younger people are drinking less alcohol, just like everywhere else in the world. They've got very strict drunk driving laws, and there are other reasons, but the health reason, I think, is also really prevalent in driving that non-alcoholic consumption.
So is that behind your passion of the NA beers? You're filling that interest, that need?
Partially, yes, because it is really, a whole new way of thinking about beer as a health beverage. And obviously when it has alcohol in it, it's illegal for brewers to claim any health benefits. That's absolutely illegal. The TTB makes that just perfectly crystal clear. But once you remove that alcohol, you can talk about some of the health benefits. You can't really make health claims, but you can talk about the health benefits, and then it becomes easier. But and that is one of our goals, and the other is that when we infuse it with cannabis, there can't be any alcohol. So that's another reason, is we really make our beer as free of alcohol as possible. It's actually 0.00% ABV. So that when we put cannabis in it, we break no laws. Obviously it's federally illegal, so we are breaking that law, but we operate in states where it is legal. So Colorado and California, it's been legalized, the rec cannabis market, and so we put it in our non-alcoholic, or actually alcohol-free beer, and and we have a lot of fun with it, and we have a lot of customers who enjoy consuming our products.
And you certainly have the expertise, having founded Blue Moon. You know what good beer tastes like.
I like to think I do.
So do you have an equivalent that if I had one of your Blue Moons that you originated, do you have a Blue Moon equivalent from Ceria?
At Ceria, we've got a Blue Moon.
Ceria, thank you.
Blue Moon equivalent. So Blue Moon is an Americanized Belgian white style.
Right.
And it's brewed with Valencia orange peel, has a nice bright orangey aroma. And it comes in at 5.4% ABV. And at Ceria, we make a similar beer with 0.0% alcohol. It's brewed with coriander and blood orange peel, so it's similar to Blue Moon. And it has a nice bright orangey citrus character to it. And it's got a nice light drinkable body, and it's enjoyed with a slice of orange. For us, it's similar to, I would call it an alcohol-free version of Blue Moon.
So if I was drinking it, do you think I could perceive, you said the ingredients are slightly different than the Blue Moon, so there might be some slight flavor differences, but my worry is in a 0.0 beer, is it going to have any body? Is it going to have a head? I mean, I don't want it to taste like a juice.
Right, or you don't want it to taste like colored water.
Right. More importantly, hop water.
There you go, yeah. Although there is a market for hop water. Most brewers don't like it because it's water.
Yeah.
So our beers are brewed to have a head, so you pour it out and it has a nice, thick, lasting head of foam. And then we have body in our beers because, again, we brew it to have body. Yeah. And we've got flavor and really a lot of the stuff that a beer should have, except it has 0.0% alcohol.
Wow, I've got to try one of those. Matter of fact, I want to do one of those side-by-side things. I think the Blue Moon. So if we lined that up and we had a Blue Moon, and what do you call your 0.0?
We call it Ceria Grainwave Belgian White.
Ceria Grainwave. Is there a third one, or are you unique in the world on those?
Well, we've got a IPA along with our Belgian.
No, I'm saying the same style.
Oh, the same style. For us, it's just obviously there's Blue Moon, and then there's our product, and then if you tasted them side by side, ours is a little bit thinner, mainly because with alcohol, it has this trigeminal effect on the palate, and it's hard to reproduce that effect in.
Trigenital effect.
Geminal.
Geminal.
Not genital.
It can be pronounced wrong. You guys know I'll pronounce it wrong. So help me with that. That's a big word. Biggest word I know is watermelon, Keith.
Okay. Well, so with alcohol, I think all of us are familiar with alcohol when we taste it like a spirit, like whiskey or something.
Right.
You'd have a little shot glass. You put it in your mouth. You feel that warming sensation.
Right.
And you feel this kind of a thickness of the liquid, because obviously alcohol it's got body to it and it's got warming to it. So that whole sensation is referred to as a trigeminal effect on the palate.
Yeah.
And so researchers have tried for years to reproduce that in a synthetic chemical or a natural extract, and it's just hard to reproduce that. Some companies use chili extract,
I was going to ask that.
capsaicin to try to do that. And I've tested that, and what happens with that is it can work initially with sips of product, but if you put it in a beer, by the time you get to the end of your pint, your mouth is on fire because capsaicin just builds up on the palate.
Okay.
And then other researchers have experimented with menthol. And those type of extracts, and those work with a little sip of product. But by the time you get done with a pint, it's like you've had a breath mint. You go, it's like your mouth just cools off.
That doesn't sound like. But you have such a challenge with this product. But you're accomplishing it.
Yes.
I mean, your brewery's doing well.
Yes.
You've got all these unique ingredients. So where can people buy it? So I'm in South Carolina. Can I buy it in South Carolina?
Yeah, we're nationwide in sales through Total Wine and More stores. Total Wine.
Oh, we've got a Total Wine.
So if you have a Total Wine, we're nationwide through them, and then.
But I've never seen it. Is it in the beer aisle or is it in the health food aisle?
It's in their NA, their non-alcoholic section.
Maybe that's why I hadn't shopped there. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, most people go to a liquor store like Total Wine,
right.
searching for alcoholic products.
That's right.
Very few go searching for NAs, although some do go specifically for
I'm
NA.
going to make a trip.
And then we're also distributed by beer distributors in 20 states and Puerto Rico. So if you go to, let's see, the 20 states, we have a product finder on our website. It's CeriaBrewing.com or something like that. I'm not a tech guy, I'm a brewer. Well, you just Google.
You are a
Ceria.
tech guy. Your tech goes other places.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, Keith, we got to get you on the show because you've got some great stuff. I hope I'll follow up with you because I know all this audience is going to love this because you've had a huge. I mean, I did the introduction this morning and you had the room slam full.
And it's nice because it's a topic that's I think highly relevant to people who are interested in cutting edge technologies in the brewing world. Like when I introduced Blue Moon years ago, people were not familiar with, I saw homebrewers were and craft brewers were, but the general drinking public was not familiar with Belgian-style beers.
You changed that, didn't you?
Blue Moon changed, it changed everything because after Blue Moon, people said, you know what, I think I like these Belgian beers. and people started getting into it. And Blue Moon also was the gateway beer not just for beer drinkers, but for craft brewers. A lot of craft brewers wrote to me saying, thank you for creating Blue Moon because it was my entry into craft brewing and becoming a craft brewer. So it makes me feel good that did that because Blue Moon was never meant to be a Belgian imitation beer. It was meant to be an Americanized version of a Belgian wit. And
Keith Villa, you are definitely an icon in the brewing industry, and I appreciate you taking a minute to talk to me. I know you're really busy because you've got conferences to do and conferences to attend. You're very kind to take this time.
It's been my pleasure, Doug. And it's nice though, but because people here, there's a different attitude at the Homebrewers Association convention. People are it's more of a laid-back attitude, and people are very friendly. At the Craft Brewers Convention, it is a business, and people are in there trying to learn different ways of brewing or things.
Are you saying we have more fun?
I'm saying you have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, what would you tell the folks that have never been to HomebrewCon before? What would you tell them about the event?
Oh gosh, yeah, I would say if you haven't been, please plan your next vacation around it. Take your significant other, your spouse, whoever it is, and make it a fun vacation. But plan time to just go and spend a week because the convention moves from city to city. Here it's in Pittsburgh. It's been years since I've been in Pittsburgh, and this place has really changed. It's a really cool city to visit, to explore, to eat new things. And the next city that will host the AHA convention, it'll be announced soon. Please make plans to go. It's not that expensive, and you'll get so much out of it because there are so many technical presentations and different types of presentations. And there's an expo, which is, I think, really fun to attend because in the expo you'll find suppliers, whether it's home brewing equipment, high-tech brewing equipment, a can seaming machine that you can buy to take to your home brewing operation, ingredient suppliers from malts, hops, flavorings. You'll find so many different things, water treatment suppliers, just all these things that will make your brewing experience easier, better, high quality. It's a game changer for home brewers. So I highly urge you to come to the next one, make it a vacation, but have fun with it because at the end of the day, after the conventions are done during the day, the meetings, you can actually have beers and enjoy yourself and really network with other home brewers. And you'll find out that it's an experience that you will probably want to repeat year after year.
You said that like you were practiced. I mean, I just popped this question to him. That was such a thorough answer. Wow. Well, again, I know you're busy, so I'm not going to keep you anymore. Keith, thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug.
Fantastic.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I do want to follow up, see if we can twist your arm and get you on a program.
Please do. I would love to. It would be my pleasure to do it and really present something that your podcast listeners can actually learn some things from, which you've done a ton, but I'd like to take it really on that cutting edge.
Just begun, and we hadn't talked to you yet, so there's a lot more to learn.
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.